Please introduce yourself.
Yes, Ajamu, photographer, extra large and extraordinary.
All right, Ajamu, we have seen you here in the Jamaican diaspora here in New York.
Yes, sir.
All sorts of different events, mostly reggae events, a lot
Yes,
of top
yes,
events.
yes, sir.
You're a very acclaimed and accomplished photographer,
Yes,
one of our best.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How long have you been a photographer?
Man, we're talking about since the late 90s.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How did you get into it?
Cousin of mine had a newspaper called Myrie Weekend, and I was a photographer for that newspaper. That's where it all started, where he asked me if I could just take some pictures, and then I went around and started taking pictures at different events because he had to get the photos to complement the article that he was writing. So that's where I started out, and then just move from there and take it to the next level.
Now, when you started out,
Yeah.
did you have any background in photography?
No.
No?
Nah.
You had to figure it out as you go?
Yeah, I was basically, photographer have a term what they use called street taught.
Right.
So I wasn't really necessarily street taught, but I was self-taught. You understand what I mean?
Right.
And taught enough when when I started to go to school, basically I was that guy that the teacher used to set up all of this stuff because I already know it already. So
All right, so at some point you went and got formal training.
no, at some point I went to school just to see if there's something I needed to know.
That you missed.
But I wasn't missing anything. I was ahead of my gun.
Right. So how difficult was the learning curve for you when
Not
you were
bad,
learning?
not bad. I saw other people in the class had issues, but I was there already. So maybe this was my destiny, to taught that. I know that.
Right.
Yeah, it was just I naturally rolled
Came
into
natural
that.
for you.
Yes.
Right. So I know you specialize mostly in the area of reggae. You have captured a lot of really iconic images of dancehall and reggae artists
Yes.
over the years.
Yeah. But
What led you in that direction?
Well, to be honest with you, I know I'm caught in the reggae arena, but when I just started out, I used to do a lot of stuff with Source magazine and Vibe magazine. And Source and Vibe magazine is not necessarily a reggae magazine.
Right.
They're
more hip
They're
hop.
more hip hop. So
Right.
that's what I used to do stuff for. But I was like that guy that got caught in the reggae genre. You understand what I mean?
Right.
So yeah. So it
So it was
not-
accidental at the end of over there.
yeah.
Wasn't by design.
Kind of sort of, but I guess you know what? It's my passion,
Right.
and it's what I know. So sometimes I say to myself, "More and crawl out that," but I'm still end up getting stuck in it. You understand what I mean?
Right. Now you have captured most of the top reggae artists
Yes, sir.
and dancehall artists around the
Yes,
world.
sir.
What
Yes,
does that make? How do you feel
Man,
about
listen, it feel good at the time, but guess what going on, Gavin? At this time going around, I'm looking at my archive, and there's a lot of guys in the archive that's just not here anymore.
Right.
And I'll give you a perfect example. Max Romeo is
Right.
not here
Just
anymore.
passed.
Cocotte is not here anymore.
Rest in
Sometimes it
peace,
kind
yeah.
of make you feel like kind of sad. Rest in peace to them general, but it make you feel sad when you look at it like, man, and time, how fast time is going.
Right.
Because when I photographed those people, it was at a young age. I know I'm not realizing, but I'm a grown person. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying?
You're growing also while they're
yeah,
growing.
exactly. So, I must give thanks for that. You know what I mean? So that's how it's been going, man. Yeah.
Right. Now, what would you say is one of your most significant accomplishments as a photographer? stands out in
I'm
your
going to tell
mind.
you. You just asked a question, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Globally, I didn't think I would have even put my foot in the continent of Africa. And photography have taken me there more than one occasion. So I could say that's when I'm going to come to over the world where I've been at. I didn't think I would have ever put my foot there, but the photography have put me in places where I never thought I was going to be. So I could say that's a key accomplishment in a way where it's I could always look at it and say, man, we reach yes, sir. And some people, them I work forever, they never put their foot on the continent of Africa. I did it 3 times, so
Right.
I gotta give thanks to them time.
Right. So while we're on the subject, where are some of the other countries that photography took you?
Ethiopia, Nigeria, Greece in 2004 when
Greece.
Usain Bolt run the first time.
Oh.
Yeah, Usain Bolt run the first time, but he never come first. You understand? That's one of the key places.
Right.
Yeah, so England.
I know you go over there for Red Bull for the big sound clash, Irish and Chilean sound
Irish
clash.
and Chin them have them thing over there, so I'm always over there. I'm one of them photographers too, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm a part of that clique when them call, I move. Yeah.
What about the Caribbean islands? You've been to any?
Yeah, St. Martin, I've been to St. Martin, I've been to St. Lucia. A couple of them right now I can't remember from the top of my head, but I've been to a couple of them. Yeah, man.
Right.
And I always in Jamaica back and forth from major the stuff.
Right.
Reggae Sumfest, you know it. You know what I
I know
mean?
the other day you're flowing just for one day and then flow out again.
Well, listen, man, listen. I thought I was finished with that. A guy called me up and said, yo, we have an event we're bringing you to Jamaica this Saturday.
Right.
And they're flying me out by this Sunday morning. And I said, nah, man, that can't work. I extend my stay because there was stuff that I needed to capture in Jamaica. So I stay a little bit longer to capture that, you know what I mean? Right. Wanted to go by pudding, man, and take some picture of the cool skill and all them type of thing that don't know. So, yeah, man, you know?
Right,
type
so,
of vibe.
right, so as a diaspora, it's very important that we keep records of our history and our journey.
Right,
the people here in the diaspora, right?
Right.
So I want to say on behalf of the Jamaica diaspora in New York,
I
want to say a big thank you
for
your years of great work and great dedication to the cause.
Yes.
I say at Pen Relays, see at all the big reggae shows, see at fashion events.
Yeah, and for the gala, one of the big things is the gala these days. And I know as Caribbean people, sometimes when we do an event, we don't know how much it is to keep those files, because when you have a 20th anniversary or a 10th anniversary or a 50th anniversary, you could go right back to them and collect your stuff to compile over the years to showcase it. You understand what I mean? Now a lot of people, they call me over, they're like, oh, you remember that thing you gave me 10, 20 years ago? I go, what? They're like, the photograph. I say, yeah, I still have it in my archive because I save my archive. You know what I mean? So yeah, man.
We're here. You're here doing a job.
Yeah.
Right. And I know you have to get back to work, but
man.
I thought it very important. Today.
Yes.
To take the time out as a colleague.
Yes.
And as a man who I respect and admire in our community, who has been putting in the work.
Man.
To make sure we can, because, you know, I know you come into a lot of publications. You know, when people say we want a photo for the Observer, for the Gleaner, right? I know this has happened with you millions of times, where they call on it for something. Somebody from the foreign press want to say something and capture a story about something in our community. You always have the archive. And a lot of people look at these things and take them for granted, but I know what it is.
Because you as a fella, videographer and photographer slash. So you know, but a lot of people they just look at that lightly, but something that look at lightly is not as lightly as it look.
Right.
You know, it takes some time and some work to create all of that, and for somebody to even pick up one that's highly considered. So that's great, you know.
Right.
You know what
so,
I mean? So
I wanted to make sure we document you,
man,
right? Put you in the archive, because you are putting a lot of people in the archive.
Thank you, man. If I'm dropping out the box today, you got my thing, right? As I said, and you can't hear the murder from me. And you're one of the done out there. I don't care what nobody say. You are one of the done. We are the good work. But you know what? One of the things is just that sometimes they don't like to do this. You know,
that's our community, but it's all good.
You have to appreciate what we do and give us what we deserve. Because the same way you could buy a bottle for $500 and $1,000, or you could buy a BMW M4 or whatever that is, right? Consider the photographer and the art. Let me just use the word art.
Art form.
Because I'm talking about that as a photographer, the guys that do the painting and all that type of stuff.
Right.
Once upon a time, I used to say that we have no respect for artists, but I'm not going to say that because it's not all of us, it's just some of us. You understand what I mean? You know, when you have a showcase, people come and they take picture, which is not a problem, but they don't support the thing.
Right. So one last thing I want to get into before we wrap up.
Yeah, man.
I know you had an exhibit one time in New York.
Yes.
Where you were showcasing some of your best work, your body of work.
Yes.
What was that experience like?
The experience was good. But what was the good part was that I actually put on something that I always wanted to do.
Right.
You understand? And I'm trying to do something else too. You understand? On a grand scale. But it take a lot of work, man. People walk in and they see it and they look good and they give you the compliment, but it's a lot of the behind the scene work and politics.
Right.
So I'm gonna make it happen though.
Right.
And this time when it happens, there might be a book to compile with it. You understand what I mean?
Again, on behalf of the Jamaican diaspora here in New York and all Jamaicans worldwide, I want to thank you for your years of professional work. When you say professional photographer, Ajamu Myrie comes to mind right away.
Yeah, man, you have to be. Because when you're in a room, I walk around and do something, people are sitting and talk about you. How you look, how come that you that walk around looking so untidy. So you have to, when you present yourself, you have to present yourself dapper so people can see that you look proper and get the work done and deliver it on time. Very important.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And have a good afternoon, all right?
Yes, G. Hold it down,